Let me first say, I thank and praise God that we have all made it here safely today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally as safe. I had a difficult time getting in here today. White folk got scared. They got the airport locked down. Now, anything go wrong or any complaint about the airport, you blame that on white folks. Because the airport is 99.9% white folks. Now, if you got any complaint about Greyhound, bring it to us. And one thing white folk got to start doing is start just following black folks around, and y'all could learn something from the way we handle Greyhound. They would never insult us and take us through the changes they take you white folks through at the airport. I mean, now they just come up with a new law 3 weeks ago and say your bags have to be on the same plane with you. I always thought my bags was on the same plane. Matter of fact, when I showed up and my bags wasn't there, them white folks at the airport act surprised. Well, and now you had some terrorists act a fool, and now they got some laws now. I say my bags have to be on the plane with me. Bin Laden. Before Bin Laden, we was been late, been ignorant, been ugly, been lazy, been shiftless, been a nigger, been snorting, been busted, been in jail, been crazy. Now it's y'all been our friend for a long time. More white folks die at airports from heart attacks than in the hospital. I just never believed in white folks. I mean, the jet age, the most powerful engine in the history of the planet, they got on an airplane, and yet they make them white folks walk 27 blocks to get to the plane. Greyhound ever tried that? Greyhound bring that bus up to your toe. And you get on the plane, you buckle up, they take off, then they read federal regulations and tell you what the weather is after you get in the air. Like, suppose you don't like what you hear, what you gonna do, get off? Greyhound tell you before that bus take off, there's a heck of a storm between here and Memphis, y'all still wanna go? And the airline can be so stupid. I mean, I don't know how you white folk tolerate that mess. I had a date I had to get to a couple of weeks ago, and they're so confused. They have no seats left. So, well, there's no more first class, and the next plane has first class, and that leaves at 7 o'clock. I said, well, I have to be. He said, we got one seat left in economy at the exit, emergency exit. So I take that. That's the first time I ever rode on an emergency exit in my life. Y'all got to be stupid. They bring you a book to show you what your duties are in case that plane wrecks. You have to be willing to help others. Hey, I got on this plane by myself, and if nothing happened, I'm planning on getting off by myself, and if there's a wreck, I ain't even planning on getting my briefcase. What about the people on this plane that work for the airline? I don't see nothing mentioned where they're going to help. I'm going to help. Y'all got to be crazy. And they try to be all cute when they be reading Sirius stuff, like when them oxygen, you sitting on the plane, that oxygen ever fall on you had 2 seconds to get there or you are dead. That is serious. And they just go, and in case there's an emergency, the oxygen will fall. Here's how you, I'm sitting, the first time I remember I really got my 4-year-old son Mexico together, the plane. They tell us about the oxygen. And I said, now, I know you're 4 years old, and I know, sometimes you don't be too bright. If you see anything fall from there, grab it, or you're dead, boy. And that's the only time the airline ever kind of helped me out. And if you're traveling with a small child, put your mask on first, which I was going to do anyway. And I love the way they lose your white folks' bags. And y'all sit there. You're looking at that little thing go around for an hour, ain't nothing on it. And they back peeping at you, saying, I wonder when they're going to find out. And then after you find out there's no bag, then you got to go stand in a line for 40 minutes just to get in to fill out an application to be told, if you haven't heard from us in 6 weeks. This was just a little weekend trip. Greyhound would never do that. First, before the bus gets to the terminal, Greyhound will say, all the bags got ripped off in Memphis. There are no bags. So I'm sitting next to this white dude, and you can tell he'd never been on Greyhound before. He says, excuse me, my brother. They say the bags are gone. How do they get our bags back? Oh, no, this is Greyhound, man. At the airport, they say lost and found. Greyhound, they got an office just say lost. So what do you mean? You just go in there, you don't fill out, and you just go in there and just get you a couple of bags and leave, They kind of put a little strain on my little airline thing because they got they reinforced the cockpit door now, and I'd always check that door out when I got on in case of emergency. I wasn't running out no exit or I was going to kick that cockpit door and check out that black box. Because I know they're coming to get that. And they would get something black all right. Yeah. I started my Christian fast with the rest of the Christians on this past Wednesday, because my one plane was canceled and they had to route me a different way, so I didn't have time to drink the amount of water you have to drink on a fast. And so I called my wife and I said, I'm really running behind on my water and I feel a little woozy. And she said, well, that the ginseng, I want you to just take a couple of those and until you finish. And no little ginseng vials. You just pop and take the liquid ginseng and you feel that energy immediately. Well, I popped 2 of them. And naturally, I was in the church downstairs, so I didn't see a waste can, so I just put it in my pocket. And I was walking and heard the drums, and I got the feeling, and I said, wait a minute, this is beyond drums. So I reached in my pocket and looked at my little ginseng and realized I took my Viagra by mistake. So y'all know I got to talk quick tonight. But when Viagra kick in, it have no mercy. And let me just say to you white folks, I'm one of the few brothers that admit I use it. Usually when you catch your brother buying it, he swear he buying it for a white boy. No, I use mine. Okay. Because one of my sons, a doctor, he's a chiropractor in Washington, D.C., and so I don't have to pay them outrageous. I can really get the shot for about $10. And about 3 weeks ago, he was on his way to Europe for a conference. And so he said, Dad, a friend of mine, Dr. Ellis, he'll give you the shot. And just, I just told him to bill Ma. And it's just $10 when you get it to a friend. And so the doctor said, I'll send the bill to your wife for $10. And so my son called me the other day and he said, Greg, is Ma Dad, is Ma all right? I said, yeah, what do you mean? He said, well, Dr. Ellis called me and said that, you know, he gave you the shot and he sent the bill to your mother and for $10, and he just got a check this morning for $3,010. So I said, well, I mean, I talked to her this morning. She sounded all right to me, but let me call her. And I called her and I said, Leo, I just finished talking to your son. He said, you sent us. Dr. Ellis, he sent you a bill for $10 for the Viagra shot, and you sent him a check for $3,010. Is there a mistake? She said, no, that's right. I said, well, how you explain? He said, well, I sent him the $10 for the Viagra, and the $3,000 was for the tip. And when the brother introduced me, he told you, I got married 43 years ago. People said, oh, love is wonderful, love nothing. She told me, if you ever leave me, nigga, I'll kill you. Yeah, kill will make you stay home a long time. And there's another word Michael Jordan just found out about called half. Yeah, half. That boy ran back. Oh, baby, don't. Oh, baby, please. $43 ago, the biggest problem I had with my marriage, my wife scared of debt. She couldn't handle debt. And I tried to tell her that fear and God do not occupy the same space. And she didn't understand. When we gonna pay Sirius and Roebuck? You act like we got some money. We don't have no money. And when I get me some money, Sirius and Roebuck is not my first priority. Sirius knew I wasn't going to pay for that stuff when I got it. Yeah, that's right. On the back of the application, they said, who's going to pay for this? I said, your mama. I walked in the house 2 weeks later. I thought my old lady having a nervous breakdown. She said, here, there's a letter. Here's Sirius. They did it, Sirius. I said, what's wrong with final notice? I looked at it, final notice. Thank God we won't be hearing from them no more. Fear and God do not occupy the same space. Stupid brother called me the other day, scared. They're about to repossess my car. What must I do? Don't park in front of the house. Car green, painted red, you know. I mean, repossessors is not the brightest people on the planet, you know. And then bill collect, and I don't understand you black folks. You black folks always want to be validated by a silly system. I'm so tired of you black folks. All of you got good credit, but you ain't got no cash. I'm trying to find me some black folks like me. Bad credit, cash. When the bill collectors call y'all up, y'all panic. I mean, church folk go to church every Sunday, then lie. Tell them I'm not here. You tell children to tell a lie, and then tell them, don't lie to me. First, you got to ask yourself, did you get the stuff? Sure. That should make you feel good. Or are you going to pay for it? No. That should make you feel better. How many of you all in this audience is aware of the fact that 60% of those bill collectors are prison inmates that make, that make 31 cents an hour? How many of y'all know that? I'm serious. Yeah, that's straight line. Let me say this again. 6% of them bill collectors that call you are prison inmates that get paid 31 cents an hour. And y'all scared of them? I had one call me a triple serial killer, called me a couple of months ago, want to embarrass me because I'm late paying Neiman Marcus. I say, punk, you come by the house and get it. He on triple lockdown threatening me. Them bill collectors call you, don't lie to them. Yeah, this is Gregory. They don't know what to do. They've been trained that you're going to say it's not you. And when you say it's you, they have to run back to the manual. What do you say when they say they there? Huh? So he comes back, this is not you. I said, boy, how old are you? 22. Let me tell you something. I've been owing this company this money for 38 years. I mean, before you was born, what makes you think you gonna collect it in your lifetime? And then when they can't intimidate you, they move to another level. Oh, they go to those PhDs, those psychiatrists, psychologists, and they're real friendly. Hi there, guy. When can we expect a payment? Well, I'm not in control of your expectations. Matter of fact, you can expect a payment all the time. Matter of fact, my brother, you sound so positive. Have you checked the mail this morning? You know? Fear and God do not occupy the same space. A gun and a Bible in the same house, you have just canceled God out. I mean, somewhere when you just, this the game. How they frighten folks. I mean, black folks, y'all be looking at NBC, Sirius, talking about crime and all that stuff, and they scared some of y'all so bad. I know black folk that think somebody's going to take something from them. They ain't even got nothing. I got a cousin in Kansas City, got 27 locks on the door, and ain't got nothing in the house. I said, boy, if somebody broke in here, they would leave something. Look, the house he lived in is so small, he stuck the key in the door one day and stabbed 12 people. And they was in the backyard, right? And there's one brother, man, he's so out of it. He got the dumbest children. And got an attitude, because all 10 of my children are bright. And he just, and I tell him, I said, man, you ought to just thank and praise God. All your children are dumb. Why? Well, you dumb, your wife's dumb. If you had a smart child, you knew it wasn't yours. I mean, I really hate to call him, but he's my brother. I have to call him. Before I get off the phone, he want me to say something to one of them old dumb children. I called him this morning. He said, hey, bro, before you hang up, the baby want to say hello. Hi, Uncle Jay. I love you, Uncle Jay. When you coming to play the movie? That boy 42 years old. Fear and God do not occupy the same space. And I'm still trying to figure out what black folks mean about black on black crime. Somewhere you white folk have to start listening. And by the way, any white people in here that hear me talk about white folk, I am not talking about you. See, I advocated ain't but about 5 white folks on the whole planet, and the rest of y'all is imposters. Because white ain't got nothing to do with the color. White is an attitude, and if you ain't got some big billions of bucks in the bank, you can't have the attitude. And black folks have messed up a lot of you white folks because they make you think you got more power than you got, and black folks got mad at the wrong white folks. The white folk you mad at couldn't help you if they liked you. I'm talking about Queen Elizabeth type white folks. Queen Elizabeth made $360 million every 24 hours just interest on her money. Now, them bees white folks. Now, lacks them type of white folks, because they don't lie. They'll tell you, we're going to war to protect our interests. As in interest. And black women, Queen Elizabeth, heck of a message comes out of her. When they want to make you black women believe the problem in the black community, y'all just go along with anything. The problem in the black community ain't no black man at home. We ain't home when we home. Brother come there with all them attitudes. He made at white folk downtown. They said nothing but grinned all day. Now he gonna come home with attitude. You laid that nice apple cobbler out there for him. How you like that cobbler? I'm eating it, The games. Problem in the black community, ain't no black man at home. Hitler had a mother and father at home. Jack the Ripper had a mother and father at home. These thugs that have polluted the whole planet, these scientists with the PhDs, they had mothers and fathers at home. Anything negative this thug throws out there, it seems like most black folk just want to grab it and hold on to it like it's straight line. Queen Elizabeth, one of the richest white women in the world, she's lived in a palace all her life. Summer palace, winter palace, in-between palace. She's been with her husband, Philip, all her life. You can't find no more dysfunctional children than them things she got. So tell me about a man at home. And how you black folk gonna let a white, racist, insane nation even discuss family values with you? Mean you must be some kind of fool. Family values. I am the family. I never stole nobody, brought them against their God, against their tongue, against their mother, against their father. You want to talk about family values? Go find the mafia. You can't get no more family value orientated than them thugs. You stole me, dropped my daddy off in Jamaica, dropped my mama off in Mississippi, dropped the children off in Louisiana. Now they want to tell me about family value, and some of y'all is stupid enough to even entertain that? It's like they find out that Hitler's alive and he in New York tomorrow trying to discuss ethics with the Jews. And black folk, will y'all please explain to me one day what is black on black crime? You can't get no. And white folks, see, that's why you got to listen to black folk, because sometimes we be saying some of the stupidest stuff. It sounds good to you, but you listen to it because, well, black on black crime is we tired of black folks killing black folks. Now, white folks listen to that. They didn't say they tired of black folk killing. They said they tired of them killing black folks. Then who be left? If we all went to China today, who you think killing Chinese in China? If we went to Italy tomorrow, who you think killing Italians in Italy? And if 98% of all white folks that was murdered in America last year was murdered by white folks, if they're not talking about white on white crime, why are you talking about black on black crime? You kill where you live. And if you don't want black folk killing black folks, and join the NAACP, SCLC, push and get out here with us, and I guarantee you, if I'm living over here and integrate this country, I guarantee you, if I'm living over in this white suburban neighborhood, my old lady make me mad enough to want to shoot somebody, I'm not going to jump in my car and drive all the way back to the ghetto, shoot you. %98 of all homicides in America is not caused from drugs or alcohol. 98% of all homicides in America is caused by friends or relatives. And 96% of all homicides in America is caused over arguments, not breaking and entry. You don't need more locks on your door, you need locks on your attitude. Poor women sitting around here worrying about terrorism. Every 4 seconds you sit in this room, round the clock in America, every 4 seconds a woman is beat up by her boyfriend or husband. Y'all crazy. Not strangers. 98% of women in shelters is there because they've been battered by some thuggish man. There is no more terror than a friend and someone I love with, someone I share the bed with, terrorize me to the extent I have nervous breakdown. I just can't. Thank God things beginning to change with you younger women. I mean, when I first got married, I tell my wife I want breakfast in bed. I'd be out drinking, drunk on. She's scared to go to sleep because she don't want to miss my breakfast in bed. Tell a young sister today you want breakfast in bed, she tell you better go sleep in the kitchen. I mean, Super Bowl Sunday, more white women get killed in America on Super Bowl Sunday than any other day of the year. I tell white women on Super Bowl Sunday, y'all need to go to Jamaica where it's safe. A country full of wimps and punks. Those of y'all that looked at the Super Bowl, you saw what happened. You know, ain't no way in the world St. Louis can lose that. You know that. Y'all play all that old He-Man fool, stupid stuff. It's white businessmen that own them teams, and it's a sport to you. Soccer, it's a business to them. When you think of the odds you have to bet on St. Louis, and when that field goal was kicked, it was still 2 seconds left on that clock. That was enough time to kick off one of them niggas that outrun Jesus. To run that ball back. But they shut it down, and ain't nothing you would say about it because in your subconscious mind, you know who you can mess with and you know who you better not mess with. That's the great thing about being in America. You know good and well, had the workers ripped off Enron, they would be on their way to the electric chair. There's never been a Senate hearing for a worker that stole something. Had those workers stole that money and one was going to testify and they found him dead, nobody could tell you it was suicide. And yet this dude got multiple gunshot wounds and the press ain't even dealt with it. Because all y'all know there's certain people you can mess with. The CIA and the FBI do stuff in this country that would make Hitler blush. And I ain't the only one that know that, but y'all ain't gonna mess with them because they will wipe you out. You know that. I know y'all come to me. Ain't you worried about this? If I thought the God I prayed to every day couldn't protect me against filth, I'd be the first one to admit I'm praying to the wrong thing. Okay? Okay? That's a game they play. It's a game they play. Black men run that game down. You number boys. I don't have to tell you that. Ain't another man on this planet referred to his best friend as homeboy, referred to his wife as mama, and referred to his house as a crib. Huh? Huh? Any fool know a crib is where babies sleep. Now y'all can run around and put all these old funny outfits on and twist your hair all kind of funny ways. Ain't nothing changed. Black men go all over the world in the military, killing folks for this wench, but a cop shoot your mom in the back. You want to come home and march? What kind of fool baby boy is you? Then want to come home and get your manhood through your joint. Don't even know that's a violation of God. The day you was born, I, your God, decided you was a man. And when you let a white racist system reduce you below that, then you're going to try to get it playing games. One day when you black men realize we black men in America is less than 4% of the population, but 83% of prostate cancer deaths is black men. You play with that thing if you want to. You take your little boy mentality and try to be a man. And talking slick to white folks and all that don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing at all. Nelson Mandela found that out. He went to jail. He was framed. Stayed in jail 27 years. He was part of an armed struggle. And the only thing changed in 27 years when he came out, our movement had slipped under that door. They talked about what you was talking about, love. Huh? Slipped under his door. Now, y'all sell all your wolf tickets if you want. Had he came out and grabbed a gun, white folks would still control South Africa. And niggas would be dead. It's a game they play. Y'all want to reduce something down there when you don't want to fight nobody and turn another cheek. You some kind of punk. No, you the punk that walk around talking about how bad you are and your mama ain't liberated. Your children ain't liberated. And a white racist system going to sit and tell you it's a reverse racism. You can't even be a racist, black boy. You crazy? I can dislike you and hate you because you Irish Catholic. I can hate you because you're a Jew. I can hate you because you're an Italian. That's prejudice. The word racism means the ability to control somebody else's faith and destiny. And because I hate you because you're Irish Catholic, I do not have the power to see to it that your children go to bad schools or see to it you can't get a house mortgage. Y'all get around black folks and be talking all that old snot crap talk. Don't talk it around me. Talk it around white folks. Change something. Huh? Change something. Y'all live out here and put a cop or brutalize you just as quick here as one would in Mississippi. Huh? The number one problem confronting the black community is police brutality. Don't nobody want to talk about it. White church don't talk. Nobody talks about it. Everybody want to discuss now. They got shows about, well, the word nigger. Let's discuss. No. Why you want to discuss nigger? How come you don't want to discuss police brutality? Because white folks have never brutalized me, and white folks have never seen me being brutalized. But most white folks have or heard or used the word nigger and do nothing about it. So now that word terrorizes. And I'm so glad, and it cost me $8 to $10 million back in 1962 when white folk came to me and just thought they was dealing with a comedian. They didn't understand my mind. They still don't understand it, and I don't have to be validated by the New York Times or the Washington Post or Newsweek. 10 billion years from now, when they talk about comics, I'll be one of them. When honest people sit down and dissect the stuff I said, and the stuff I invented, and the stuff I created. So I don't need to be validated by a hateful, nasty, ignorant, stupid system. There's a God for us, the one that gave me my wisdom and knowledge. That's all. So when I turned the book in, they said, oh, we thought you was, we wanted a joke book. They said, that's why we gave you that $500,000 advance. Well, go back and read your contract and see if you said joke book in it. So then white folks wanted me to trick white folks. Said, well, why don't you think about it over the weekend and name it something humorous? And what they wanted was white folks to see a funny name and think they had a joke book. And in my contract, I had the power to name that book anything I wanted to name it. So I named it Nigger. So I never forget that woman that double asked me, said, well, why you want to name it that? I said, well, I want to take this old nasty snake and defang it. And I never thought I'd live to see the day that black children, white children would wake up and greet one another. You my nigger baby, you my nigger baby. Or 2 weeks ago, this new book just came out. A black Harvard professor just wrote a book, nigger. But he must be some strange kind of nigger, because when they interview him, he referred to it as the N-word. If you bold enough to put nigger on the book, then use the word, boy. And don't none of you black folk come up to me when it's over talking about, why you use the word nigger? If nigger bothers you, then you be's a nigger. If I say up here right now, all you hoes stand up, any of y'all feel bad about you got whole tendencies because I didn't call your name. All right? If I say all you billionaires stand up, ain't none of you gonna stand up, ain't gonna be a fan. How can you be so sure you never be a billionaire but got doubts about your niggerism? I say nigger 100 times when I wake up in the morning. Nigger that makes my teeth white. And the filthy, degenerate thugs that name me nigger suits that name before me. In the O.J. trial, they referred to it as the N-word, and that didn't seem to bother y'all. I hope my Jewish brothers and sisters will never get insane enough to be so ashamed of what the filth them Nazis did that they want to refer to the swastika as the S word and the concentration camp as the C word. The N-word is the 14th letter in the English alphabet. You some kind of fool. That don't even describe what that word's about. And then one day when you black folks find out the word picnic means pick a nigger, then you'll stop barbecuing then, huh? White boy give you misinformation and y'all just run with it with your little slick self. Uncle Tom. How come when the word Tom means tough until it gets to me? A Tom turkey is a tough turkey. A tomboy is a tough girl. Or Uncle Tom is a weak nigger. When it comes my turn, they change the rules. I don't want this little black jock on my lawn. You know what I'm talking about? That little black jockey? You ever seen one with the lantern? Have you ever seen a jockey with a lantern? Come on now, don't. Have you ever seen a jockey on a horse with a lantern? That's not a jockey. It's a 14-year-old black boy that was one of George Washington's closest friends. He had a genius and a mind and a dedication second to none. And he saw George one day with a strange look on his face. He said, my friend, what's wrong? He said, I know the British are going to attack tonight. I don't know if they're coming from this point or 3 miles down the road. He said, I think they're coming down there, but just one mistake and it's over. And that 14-year-old black boy, when you look at that uniform again, that's not a jockey's uniform. That's the same uniform that George Washington and the soldiers was wearing. And that 14-year-old black boy said, you go down there, I'll stay here and hold the lantern, and when you see me move it like this, that means they're coming. And he froze to death that night, holding that lamp. That's what that is a symbol of. And they manipulate you like that's some negative symbol, and they got some white folks thinking that there's some nigger on the line. Y'all better start reaching back and trying to interpret and understand your history, okay? Your history didn't start at slavery. Your history goes back to kings and queens and owners of this land. How long? Somewhere. And understand how far we've come in such a short time. Never before in the history of this planet have anyone made the progress that African Americans have made in a 30-year period, in spite of most black folks and white folks lying and not being part of the movement. We've come a long ways. And the only reason we haven't come further is because most of y'all ain't there. Have nothing to do with white folks. Police brutality is us. Our fault. Why do you think the thousands of black cops in America, you never picked up the paper, turn on TV, and see this white family saying this black cop shot my son in the back of the head? You think it's because black cops is more spiritual or better trained? No, black cops got enough sense to know white folks ain't going to tolerate it. And when you stop tolerating, that's when it's going to stop, okay? Okay? And white folks ain't no fools. They know if they did to your automobile, black man, what they do to your mama, your wife, or your child, you could break up the police overnight. That's why you ain't never heard of a white cop shooting a nigger's car. That's why when he get ready to whoop you, he take you out the car, because if he hit that car, something come over you. Yeah, we've come a long ways. We don't have that far to go if y'all join us and stop all that old silly woofing. I got the NAACP. They too white. They ain't as white as Bell Telephone, who you pay your bill to. Ford and General Motors, you can't get no whiter than that. You pay them every month on time. Then we want to discuss how white the NAACP is. somewhere when you understand the power we have. 2001, a black man is about to break the home run record of a white man. He got to slow up and call the FBI to guard him. He's getting death threats. 2001. Somebody called me from the press, Newsweek, and said, Mr. Gregory, there's a story that just broke today. Mr. Bonds, Barry Bonds, he reported he's getting death threats to the FBI. What do you have to say about that? I said, well, I heard it, but I wasn't thinking about the death threats he was getting. 2001, I was thinking about April the 17th, 1947, when a white man named Branch Rickey reached back when baseball was America's only game, not basketball or football, and said to a black man named Jackie Robinson, I'm going to bring you up because it's right. I know they might kill me. They might destroy my family. They might see to it I never work again. But I'm going to do it because it's right. A white man. Didn't know how to high-five. Didn't know how to spell dashiki. Let me tell you, especially you young folks, I was there. Nothing had changed the psychic level of black folks and white folks like Jackie coming into baseball. He came in, and God had something to do with it. He came in black, not yellow, so they could claim that he had some other kind of blood. He come in not saying this and that. He came in as a graduate. Like ain't nothing wrong with saying this and that, but for some reason you black folks is ashamed of the way you talk. You crazy. I learned my English from white folks. When I got off that boat, I wasn't speaking nothing but pure Swahili. Till that dumb ignorant white boy said, go over here and get that bell cotton, bring it over here. I talk bad because white folk talk bad. And Jackie Robinson changed the dynamics of that thought. And a white man. 1947. Back then, white folk could have stomped him to death. He said, I'm doing it because it's right. Think about that. I remember I went to Mississippi. I was scared. I thought I would die. Wasn't enough whiskey anywhere, and I drank me some whiskey there. I used to drink so much whiskey, I'm surprised the government didn't declare me a beverage. My children came to me one day and said, Dad, you know, they ain't never been nowhere but school with white folks, University of Chicago. The money I was making, where they going to school? And they hear these white folks talking about cremation, and they come around me one day talking about, Dad, anything happened to you, we're going to cremate you. I said, as much whiskey I got in me, y'all be ready for a 6-month funeral. He did it because it was right. I don't have a black speech and a white speech, and those of you that follow me through the years know that very seldom you see these many black folks in my audience because most black folks can't afford my prices. I cut my prices for black folks, and I tell white folks because I know y'all gonna tell them. See, I know y'all. The strongest two forces in the history of this planet has always been the black woman and the black church. That's why both of y'all are under attack. They can blow up a black church, but they ain't never blowed up a black whole house. They can burn down a black church, but never burn down a black crack house. Brother Minister, just to you and the black ministers, I just say thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. When they brought that little Flip Wilson up to attack, TV show, to attack the strongest two forces in the history of America, the black woman and the black church, and most of you black folks out there were silly enough to laugh and thought it was funny because you don't know the mind game they're playing. I'm 70 years old and he never met a black woman like that thing he was supposed to be, and he never met a black minister like Leroy. What's this about? But let that nigga do a show to framing the Pope or the priests or the nuns, and they'd stomp him to death. And after he did that, they had nothing else left for him to do. Prince can talk all that stuff about, I changed my name because I had a hassle with the record company. No, them white folks went to him, not the record folks, the one that's really serious, and said there'll be no nigger named Prince. There's only one Prince on this planet. That's a white boy named Charles. And no little black children will ever grow up seeing somebody that looked like them calling themselves Prince. Change your name, boy. That's what that's about. And when are you black folk going to get sick and tired of producing these little black thuggish children to be gladiators for a white racist system? What's that about? Niggas outrun Jesus with a football every Sunday, and you get some pride out of that. It's the same thing as the Christians going in, being ate up by the tigers and the lions, and you don't see no parallel. Got nerve enough to be happy and proud of them little punks. How long? Somewhere you realize your power. And now, physically, this movement done stop that physical stuff. Oh, if a black person got lynched in America today, we shocked. You saw what happened in Jasper, Texas, and before they identified who that black man was, they had arrested them 3 white boys. In a state where less than 2 years later, the governor ran for president, and not once did that incident come up because it was handled so swiftly and quickly. Why? Out of the goodness of America's heart? No, a handful of us, black, white, young, old, rich, and poor, was willing to lay down our life to look this thug punk system in the face. Say enough is enough, and we're not going to tolerate it no more. And he said, where's your numbers? We the number, boy. You represent dark, we represent light. You want to know our power, go to bed tonight and get up early in the morning and watch the sun come out, smacks nighttime, clean out the sky, and never make a sound. That's who we are. That's what right is about. How long? How long? Somewhere. If it wasn't for the black church, there would be no black colleges. Hear me. Because a white racist system is not going to tell you the power of a black church. Without black churches, there would have been no black colleges. My 10 children was around nothing but rich white folks. And I said, your marching orders is you all going to black colleges. They went off. What do you mean? We ain't going nowhere. My wife, wait. Baby, am I the only one working in this house? And they're going to tell me where they're going? Well, we don't have to. Ma got something to say about it. So one day I went out and got 10 copies of the deed to the house and passed it out to all 10 of them. I said, read that. My wife came from upstairs. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm reading them the deed to the house. I said, why? So you see if they see their name on it. My wife said, I don't believe you doing that. You take a copy, see if you see your name on it. Y'all are just in transit. So 9 of them went to black colleges, and 1, against my better judgment, I let go to a white college. Only fool I got in my house. And I tell her all the time, if she didn't have 2 doctor's degrees from the London School of Economics, they'd have been put her in a mental hospital. I had a decision I had to make. She was one of the best girls basketball players in the history of the state of Massachusetts. And at that time, no black college had a girls' team because that case hadn't gone to the Supreme Court to say to black colleges, if you're going to have a boys' basketball team, you're going to have a girls' team. So against my better judgment, I said, go ahead. Whew. Somewhere. Black colleges, let me give you something you can't cheat, you can't lie about. One day at your leisure, write down 100 world-renowned African Americans. You can't lie on that one. And 98 of them is a product of black colleges. Not Harvard, not Yale, not MIT. Dr. King, PhD from Boston, but he went to black college. Go through the whole list. Then you'll understand the power. And there would not have been no black colleges without the black church. So, brother minister, I say thank you, and I say to you black folks, y'all ought to love black ministers, because if I had me a church, most of y'all couldn't even get in my church. I know y'all. Well, he's a good brother. I would not let y'all nowhere around my church. That's right. Because I know what y'all will do. Yeah, I know what you do. You're going to do it tomorrow. You're going to get up, put on a $400 outfit, $31,000 worth of jewelry, get in a $27,000 car and drive to the black church and give a couple of dollars? Not in my church, you would. Not in my church, you would. I'd take your car, your jewelry. Matter of fact, y'all would pay for you got in church. That's right. Well, don't you pay for you go in the movie? And if you don't like the movie, you don't get your money back, do you? You're going to give all the white folks all your money. Pay your car note, your house note. Bunch of racist thugs, you pay them. Then want to come give me some change? Then the first time a drug deal goes sour at 4 o'clock in the morning and one of your loved ones get killed accidentally, you want to call Reverend Gregory? I said, no. Call the president of AT&T. Who you give your money to is who you give your power to. Let them pray for you at this moment of And I would have their home number. Here's the president of AT&T's home number. If y'all want to just give a few change to the church, I'd have some black ministers that would tolerate it. As a matter of fact, I'd have a bus to deliver you. But you can't come in here. And you wouldn't be looking at this Bible interpreted your way. If all of us went to Harvard, or the University of Oregon, and we had a course, they will not let each one of us interpret it different. So why you take that leeway with the Bible? What's that about? My mama, the rich man got as much chance getting into heaven as the camel have getting through the eye. And then, you know, poor old lady, she thought that was a little bitty needle. I said, Mom, they didn't have needles then. God knew they was going to have them. Mom didn't know those Arabian cities, when you go into the city, that archway that you had to go over, that's called a needle's eye. And all it meant is the more load you had on the camel, the more the camel had to stoop. It didn't mean they wasn't going to get there. Going to be a whole lot of rich white folk going to be there. Some of them before you get there. Because there's a whole lot of them know how to stoop with that load. And couldn't none of y'all bring no children to church. No, that's right. Leave them. So you don't take them to work with you. Huh? Why? They contribute nothing to your work. And they sure enough don't contribute nothing to my church. That little old bitty old funny change you be giving them. You don't bring nothing and then you give them less. Go put this in. And then that evening, Sunday evening, you give them $10 to go to the movie. Huh? And 20 cents to put in church. And there's a thing in their head that say the church ain't nothing, the movie is. That's why you hear nasty jokes about the priest and the nun and the preacher, but never heard a nasty joke about Liz Taylor or Richard Pryor. Huh? You're going to bring them little snots in my church and give some little old change. No, don't bring them in here. When the rock concert come, you give them $40 for a ticket, huh? And $30 to buy a T-shirt and all that old kind of fun, huh? Got a 2-year-old child with a $170 pair of Nikes on, huh? And you're going to call me at 5 o'clock in the morning, talking about my little Denny, 3 years old, he got whooping cough and a fever, pray for him. No, no, no. You take them Nikes and put it in the center of that bed and y'all pray to Nike. See if them Nikes are healing. Don't call me. You ain't never let that little 3-year-old punk come to my church with no $175. Call Nike. Y'all some nice folks, man. It wouldn't have been a movement if it wasn't for the black church. And 99.9% of everybody in that movement, king on down, have reverend in front of their name. And I was there. Glad I went to Mississippi, although I thought I was going to die. But I went anyway. I was in Birmingham when they turned the hose on the first time. I heard the noise. I didn't know what it was. We were just marching, and I saw a 4-year-old child sweep past me from the pressure. And before I could get my thoughts together, I see this white nun sweep past me from the pressure. Then a priest, and then an old black woman, then an old minister. And the line kept marching. Kept marching. And then one fireman threw his hose down, and the cop handcuffed him and put him in the wagon. And we kept marching. And we kept marching. In America, will show you the anniversary of Tiananmen Square, some Chinese laying down in front of a tank without guns. They learned that from us. They learned that from us. Nobody in the history of this planet have ever laid down in front of heavy equipment without a weapon until they saw us do it. Thug in Bosnia lost the election. He said, I'm not going nowhere this coming Saturday. I got the army. The whole world was ready for a bloodbath. That Saturday at 12 noon, 250,000 white folk came to the town square with no guns, singing, we shall overcome. Huh? And the army threw down their weapons and went and joined them. Huh? What are you waiting for? It's already been here. It's already here. My mother used to tell me about love. I didn't realize it ain't love. I love you, baby. If I can't have you, ain't nobody gonna have you. Tell me about love. I had to join the movement before I realized it ain't about love. It's a two-form. It's love and being lovable. Hello. That's what King was. Lovable. Huh? These folks over there killing them innocent folks in Afghanistan, they in love with America, but they're not lovable. And you're not lovable neither. That's why you tolerate billion-dollar debt, your tax money dropping bombs on a country that don't even have electric toaster. Huh? Huh? On a country where them thugs we blame for September 11th ain't even from that country. Maybe you'd understand a little bit better if someone shot a cop out there and the cops ran in here because they thought he ran in here or she ran in here and killed everybody in here and justified it. You're going to pay for that. You didn't do it, but you just like them Germans and let Hitler and them Nazis run rampant. You will pay for it. Okay? I don't know how you black folk are going to pay for it. You got so much to pay for already. There's a God force that says to you black folks, I, your God, before I sit idly by and let a system, white, racist, insane, nasty system reduce you below the dignity that I put in you just so you can pay your rent or feed your family or send your children to college, I will destroy you from the inside. That's why y'all so sick. That's why infant mortality rate in America with black folks is higher than any third or fourth world country, and you don't even get the message. We black folks in America, less than 12% of America's population, and as we sit here now, 87% of everybody in America on kidney dialysis machines is black folks. What God you praying to? They don't have one kidney dialysis machine in all of Africa because they're too poor. They don't need them. You run around with all your little funny outfits on and think you so cute, think you something special, something from God, you're going to be in for a rude way. You can't be special and tolerate what you tolerate. Because you can't tolerate it and keep God's dignity. If the number one whole white lady in the world who would kill pimps and is known as Master Ho fell on her knees and repented, said, God, would you forgive me? God says, yes. Never do the things, and I'm sorry. She write a song. She has a right to do that. Help a hoe like me. But if I caught my mother in a black church singing that song and calling herself a hoe because a white woman had repented, I would know my mama crazy. Amazing Grace was written by a heathen, white, thug, murdering English slave master that fell on his knees and repented to God and asked for forgiveness and got it. He wrote that song. What are you talking about? A wretch like you. Nigga, you ain't never been no wretch. What kind of fool is you? Huh? And yet you think you don't even qualify to raise children. I do this so my children can eat. God is saying death is better. Oh, lots of brothers and sisters jumped off the slave ships. It wasn't called suicide. It's called keeping my dignity. When the hurricane season started, y'all don't get it up here. Pay attention to it. Quiet your spirit and listen to the hurricane season. Spirit of black women. That's why it's called her. Hear me. All hurricanes started at the exact spot in West Africa where the slaves was put on the ship. All hurricanes stay on the water and follow the same path that the slave ship followed. No slave was offloaded the ship till it got to the Caribbean. No hurricane jumps above water till it gets to the Caribbean. It'll hit this country and go all the way up the East Coast, all the way to Maine. Canada is right across the street from Maine. Canada's never had a hurricane because Canada's never treated a black woman like America has. Do you know who you are? You know who you are? More teenage black boys have more asthma deaths from asthma attack in 1 year than all the asthma deaths on this planet put together, and you don't feel nothing. Why? Well, asthma is basically dehydration. Harvard, Yale, MIT, Morehouse don't know that. An asthma attack is the brain sends a message to squeeze the water out of the lungs. 6 quick glasses of water will usually break that up. Well, why do all these little black boys have so many deaths from asthma? What do they drink? Gatorade, Kool-Aid, lemonade, and soda pop. If you ever want to see an example of God's power, think about the water, 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 water. 1 drop of water from an eyedropper have enough electrical energy in it to destroy an 11-story building. Water, 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 water. 70% of this planet is water. Human body, 75% water. Elephant, 70% water. Potato is 80% water. Tomatoes, 95% water. If you drink the right amount of water that God meant for you to drink, you'd average 16,000 gallons a lifetime. Water, water. 70% of the planet is water. And then to show you God's power, and out of that 70% is water, 97% of that water is ocean water. Salty. You can't drink it or you can't grow crops. So that means you got 3% fresh water, yeah, but 98% of that 3% is locked in glaciers and ice and it's under streams and under mountains. Well, is God a good God? Yes, God's a good God. Water is God's breast milk for every live thing on this planet. Well, how can be so little fresh water and so much salt water and God's a good God? Because God do some magic with that sun. That sun do something to that ocean in the daytime, and at night that stuff turns into vapor, and then that invisible gas comes up out the ocean, and the salt water stays down, and the gas come up, and then God blows it to your house. Huh? Take care of your body. Get up and walk in the morning. Physical fitness don't count in the evening. It's in the morning. Get up and walk. Now, black folk don't come to me like you know, I heard you say it, but I got a bad leg. Walk bad. Walk the same way you be doing when you be going playing them lottery tickets. You can do anything you inspire to do. Yeah. You go to the shopping mall. 60,000 parking spaces, and they're all gone, except the handicap parking. And you know they're not coming. And you better not park there. The church got handicap parking. The jail got handicap parking. School got handicap parking. Hospital, grocery store, they got handicap parking all over America except one place, the liquor store. No handicap. You want this bottle of whiskey, you get out and come on in here. You need some help? No, I get my whiskey on my own. Huh? Physical fitness. And y'all stop sleeping till time to go to work. You just woke up 70 trillion cells. Give them time to wake up. Get up 3 hours before time to go to work. By the time come to go to work, you be so mellow and cooled out, you won't even go to work. Do that 3 days in a row, you won't have to go to work. Take care of your body. Now don't leave here now and go drink 3 gallons of water tonight. I had an uncle. He was 98 years old. He said, I hear you talking about water. He said, I'm so glad I started drinking water. He said, I'm drinking about 12 glasses a day. My whole life has changed. Leg don't hurt. I'm just enjoying life. I'm 98 years old, and I just don't feel 98. Nothing bothers me. So all it was, he made worldwide news. He tells some friends, and it got to the press. When he get up at night and go to the toilet to pee, God turned the light on. And the next thing you know, folks was running, just trying to touch the house to heal. It's just in Mexico, it just went crazy. They just. And so I went in to see him, and I said, you know, I'm so glad. Oh, he said, oh, I just thank you, man, for telling me. He said, I can't tell you how I feel, and now when I go to the toilet in the middle of the night and God turned the light on for me, I said, God, I just say thank you. So I said to his wife, I said, come here, let me talk to you. I said, you drink as much water as he drank, and you go to the toilet in the middle of the night. Don't you feel funny God turns the light on for him and don't turn the light on for you? She said, don't bother me. And one day when he realized he peeing in the refrigerator, so drink your water and walk. I remember I got up in Washington, D.C., and we usually got a group. We go out 4:30 in the morning and walk. And so I walked, and a friend of mine, Jim Kelly, came to town that evening. I said, man, we got some hills. We walk in the morning, man. You got to be there. He said, no, I'm leaving out late this evening. I said, well, come on, we're going to walk this evening. So very seldom I walk 10 miles, 5.5. So I went out that evening and walked 5 more miles. And you ever get tired, not where you ache, but you just like in that twilight zone. I'm just sitting on the couch, just resting, kind of in a daze, and forgot to turn the TV off. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't, and then right in the middle of that, on TV, it said, bulletin, bulletin, civil rights icon admit baby out of wedlock. I jumped up and called my wife. I said, baby, don't say nothing to the press. I'm coming home. I can explain it. She said, oh, I'm going back to sleep. They're talking about Jesse. I said, well, you do have to admit I'm an icon, don't you? Take care of your body. Learn to respect it. When you all go home this evening, check out your toothpaste. The small print, the disclaimers. Do not swallow. They don't put this on whiskey. What in here is so poison that they have to put a disclaimer? And in the last sentence, this ain't mine. You go home and look at yours. The last sentence saying, in case you do swallow, contact the Poison Control Center, because an ordinary medical doctor do not have the educational background to save you. Now, what does that mean to you? It means nothing. But if I was telling you something about your car, y'all would all go throw it away. You'll brush your teeth with it tonight, tomorrow, and give it to your children. That's what this country has reduced you down to. There is more stomach cancer caused in America every day from drinking coffee than lung cancer from smoking cigarettes. And let me tell you something. The way this government want to get rid of me, there's a federal law that says you cannot cross a state line. What I told you, I can lie on a corporation in Massachusetts where I live, but you cannot cross a state line and deliberately lie on a country that deals in interstate, on a company that deals in interstate commerce. So what I just told you just now was a lie. They're to put me under the jail. I'm going to tell you again. And let me tell you, especially you old folks who's upset over reefers, you stop drinking coffee for a week and maybe young folks will stop, huh? Or maybe their addiction come from you, huh? There is no addiction like caffeine. It's in your soda pop. Y'all bring it and give it to the children. Coca-Cola, 38 states in this country, state troopers have to have 2 gallons of Coke in their car. That's how they get the blood off the highway after an accident. Tell you something you can do. You take a Coca-Cola and put it in a bowl and put a nail in there, and 4 days later that nail is gone. Nothing left of it. Or you frowning and saying, you'll drink a Coke before nightfall. Huh? Huh? I know you. Put a T-bone steak in a bowl and fill it up with Coke. In about 3 days, the bone and the steak is gone. You wonder what's wrong with the children? You? My mother and father had blonde hair and blue eyes, and I showed up tonight looking like this. Y'all should ask me some serious questions because I'm a reflection of my parents. Whatever these young folks is doing, good or bad, whether you like it or not, they're a reflection of you. And when you stop doing what you're doing, they will stop doing what they do. Okay? You know what? Listen, some of you old black folks, just because you old don't mean you ain't stupid. There's some old black folks over there. I don't know what's wrong with these young ones. When we was their age, we didn't have to lock no doors. You didn't have nothing. So take care of your body, physical fitness. Black folks, you should really get you some information about Deliver. L-I-V-E-R. Take the R off and spell live. It weighs 3 pounds. It's an organ and a gland. It handles 500 different functions, and when it knocks out, you opened up to 1,000 different conditions. What knocks your liver out? Anger. Racism make you angry when you ain't doing nothing about it. Depression, stress, fear, alcohol, soda pop, coffee, constipation, white sugar, all drugs. There's no such thing as a legal drug. All drugs, the drug you buy on the corner and the drug you get by prescription, all drugs do the same thing. Eats up the vitamin A in the body, which is your immune system. Eats up the vitamin B in the body, which is your nervous system. How long? Take care of your body. Somebody asked me, say, you're 70 years old, you sure look good. How do you know when you're getting old? You know when you're getting old when somebody compliment them beautiful alligator shoes you wearing and you barefooted. You know you're getting old when you go to the doctor and the doctor say you need an x-ray and just hold you up to the light. You know you're getting old when your lady or your man yell downstairs and say, run upstairs, let's have some sex. And you yell back, you know I can just do one or the other. Take care of your body. God is a good God. I was trying to get to New Orleans last week with them Christians. It was Mardi Gras. Biggest Christian festivity in the Western world, Mardi Gras. New Orleans is known as Sin City, and the Christians don't go to change it. It's the only time of the year during Mardi Gras that a New Orleans cop can't take off because the Christians is there. It's the only Christian festivity in the Western world where whores come in from all over the world to help them celebrate. And then last Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, them Christians would eat anything moving. And then last Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, they did what I did, hit my head with an ash, and now they off somewhere faking a prayer for 40 days. That's why I do not go to church with y'all on Easter. I do not want to hear that song no more. Are you there when they crucified the Lord? What a cheap song to sing 2,000 years later. You wasn't there then, and most of you wouldn't be there. How do I know? Police brutality. I'm not getting into y'all's police brutality crap because anybody in this room in sane mind know darn good and well if Rockefeller, DuPont, or the Mellon family killed anybody, none of them would go to the electric chair. You know that. So how you can be for something that you know that rich folks is not going to participate in mean you is some kind of ungodly, unspiritual fool. So I don't even get into no debate about that. One day you'll answer for that. I'm going to say it again. The richest businessman, the president of Boeing Aircraft, can wipe this church out tonight and not do one day in the electric chair. What kind of fool is you? In your subconscious mind, doing the poor, the powerful. How can you be for capital punishment and cry over the crucifixion of Christ? Or are you too stupid and too out of it to know that your Jesus died by the state, capital punishment? He wasn't mugged to death or run down by some drunken chariot driver. Jesus Christ was killed by the state, which means if Jesus Christ come back to America today and bug the wrong people, they give Jesus an electric chair, then all us Christians be walking around with big chairs around our neck. Were you there? How do you make the sign of the chair? Got a big job and haven't got much time. In a white racist system, you can read a story like this in a major white newspaper. Philadelphia Inquirer, Sunday, March the 9th, 1997. Big bold print in daily life, blacks found to be more religious than white folks. A white paper can print that and never be accused of being a racist. Let you say it. Huh? Let Jet Magazine say it. Huh? Let Minister Farrakhan say it, and even you black folks be upset. Huh? I was with Stokely and rapping them when they yelled black power. Oh, black folk got scared and went, oh, no, they didn't mean it. They meant green power. No, they meant black power. A lot of Jews in the concentration camp had green power. Who would ever believe when they yelled that 3 weeks ago, Newsweek would have on the front of their cover, the new black power. Huh? Not too long ago, 2 black men at the Olympics in Mexico balled up their fists with black gloves on and almost got run off the planet. But we did it anyway, and now Newsweek put 3 black men, and ain't none of them niggas grinning. We got it so you don't have to show no teeth. One nigga got a goatee on his way to be a beard. What are they there for? 3 of the powerful Fortune 500 companies in the world, them niggas run. Merrill Lynch, Time Warner, American Express. Did black folk just get that smart? No, we've always been that smart. It's a handful of us out here that laid down our life, black and white, young and old, that they could get through. And what kind of brothers are they? They're not on TV talking about family values and we got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Because they know that's a lie. The number one problem confronting black folks in America is a racist, insane nation. And y'all can walk around in a state of denial if you want. Anything happened to me, I blame on white folks. Everything. If I walk up tomorrow with a hemorrhoid, I say white folk did it. White folk. How long? So I say to you, we have made a difference. Old, snaggle-tooth, wrinkle-faced, ignorant, redneck, cracker white woman. She lived in the flop house behind the Lorraine Hotel. Common law. Name was Grace Stevens. Common law to a man called Charlie Stevens. She couldn't read, couldn't write. He'd beat her up so bad when we had to check her out because something happened. Find out, and living with him for 21 years in that flop house, he'd beat her so bad 19 different times. She'd been in the city or county hospital with broken or fractured bones. Why is grace so important? Because when Martin Luther King was shot, a man ran past her and she looked him in the face. And then James Earl Ray was arrested at Heathrow Airport in London, England. Not for killing King, for jailbreak. And the extradition laws in England is so rigid, it says only what you was arrested for, when we send him back, that's the only thing you can try him for. So this government knew in order to frame him and try him for King's murder, they would have to get some evidence. So the FBI and Memphis Homicide went in to see Grace Stevens one day and carried the picture of James Earl Ray and showed this old snaggle-tooth, wrinkle-faced white woman living in a flop house and said, we just want you to identify this man as the man that ran past you when he killed King. And she looked at it and she said, that's not the man. They said, we're not asking you, we're telling you. She said, that's not the man. Hear the story out, and then some of you blacks know I get up so upset with some of you niggers that talk about how bad you are. So they came back the next day to this old hillbilly snuff-dipping cracker. They said, Grace, we was a little off base yesterday. We forgot to tell you that there's $90,000 reward up for the murder of Dr. King, and we sure will go to $3 million. That snaggle-tooth flop house living said that's not the man. Okay. So you black folk put on your little funny outfits and talk your talk. I know a redneck crack a white woman with no teeth, no outfits, can't dance, don't look cute. And when the most powerful government in the world leaned on her, some niggas sitting here right now, some of you would say it's him just because you're scared, and some of you would take the money. Might not be that many, but I know I'll get me a couple. Wouldn't have to come here, a couple of niggas in my house in St. Louis. So then they came back 2 days later and they grabbed old Charlie downstairs at the little flop house restaurant. They said, Charlie, how come you haven't got your new car and your new clothes? Charlie, what do you mean? He said, your reward money that you should have by now. What reward money? He said, well, Grace saw the man that killed King, and if she just identified his picture, you get $90,000 immediately and probably get about $3 million. He said, what? Give me that picture. And he runs upstairs and asks Grace, how come she hadn't identified this man as the man that killed King? And she said, that's not him. See, a nigger's been killed, and you sit and say, this is not the man. Who cares? She said, I do. And he beat her up. I had to take her to the hospital with the FBI standing downstairs listening to the whooping. These is the same FBI agents that got to tell you about what happened on September the 9th. So they made a deal with Charlie, said, we'll get rid of her. And you identify. Charlie Stevens was so drunk the day King was killed that the cab driver that had come by the flop house to take him someplace wouldn't take him because he was unconscious on the floor. So how'd they get James Earl Ray back? They went 4 FBI agents and 3 Memphis homicide cops and said, Grace, get your hat and coat. Come on, go with us. And she did. They carried her 22 miles out of town to a mental hospital, and the people that ran the mental hospital back then wouldn't assume that the FBI and Memphis cops would lie on this white woman, and they said she has these high and low depressions, she's suicidal. She's so messed up, she even believes she witnessed the murder of Dr. King. And they committed her for 11 years. Give her a shot to wake up in the morning and a shot to put her to sleep. And one night I'm in Budapest with some real thugs, some agents from all over the world, assassins, crazy white boys, real white boys who kill their mama. We sitting around drinking cognac at $40,000 a shot. I said, Ralph, you know I don't drink this cheap stuff, man. Ralph apologized. We went up to the 16th floor where it starts at $100,000 a shot. And the more we drank, the more silly we got. So they start telling agent stories, who they killed. They're getting their manhood. So, Greg, what's your story? My story is about a snaggle-tooth, wrinkled face, snuff-dipping, hillbilly, cracker white woman. And these hard, cold thugs that would kill Jesus, when I got through, they was crying because they'd never known such strength. I said, where is she? I said, she's still in the mental hospital outside of Memphis. They say, let's go get her. And when them boys say, go get you, them is the same ones that hit the World Trade Building. I know them. Okay? I know them. I said, well, on one condition, can't be no murder. Y'all can't kill nobody on this one. I'm talking about killers. These thugs who I get most of my information from. Tonight, tomorrow, okay? They said, okay, we promise you. 3 weeks later, we're in Memphis getting ready to move. This is the first time I've ever been on an operation. I know what they do. And let me tell you, when these boys come in on you, doctor, they've done their homework. They know who the architect was, when that building was built. They know how many bricks it got in it. They know who works there. They know who's gay, who's lesbian, who's married, who's not, who's fooling with so. They know it all. So we got to leave the hotel, and I searched them. Come on, Ralph, you got to give it up. And I said, wait a minute, man. Do you know if we get caught, I'm the only one going to get some time? I didn't even thought about that. Why whiskey make a fool out you? I said, I'm the only nigga in the... Man, I ain't going with y'all. Man, y'all do this by yourself. And Ralph said, with honor, man, we'll deliver her to you tonight. Don't bring her to me. Just get out of there. So I left and went on a plane and went back to Chicago. Friday night, a little after midnight, Saturday morning, when Ralph came to my house Saturday and told me how they did it. They got in the building and they slid down the wall. He said, I really felt funny, man, because the first operation I ever been on, I couldn't kill somebody if I got caught. But I love and respect you that much, man. And as we slid down the wall and found her room and opened up the door and went in and found her bed, and when I shined that flashlight in her face, she thought we was the bad guys. And here's what she said to me. I'm going to tell you now what I told you then. That's not the man. Came by my house to tell me that Saturday she's in L.A. It was a Saturday before Mother's Day. And I said to my black wife, I won't be with you tomorrow, Mother's Day. I'm going to L.A. and hug and thank a old snaggle-tooth, redneck, cracker white woman that's never had a baby in her life but exemplify what God meant what motherhood was supposed to be about. Okay. Hello. Somewhere we have the power. These are my FBI files. People say, how you get all this stuff? Well, you know, black folks is the janitors all over the world. February the 5th, 1965, this went out to 8 of the most powerful FBI agents in the Bureau. From J. Edgar Hoover, subject, assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, November the 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas, miscellaneous information concerning Dick Gregory. What am I doing in the FBI's top secret Kennedy assassination? All they ever said about it was the FBI, the CIA, and the Mafia did it. Gregory's background. Bureau files indicate in the past Gregory have supported the black Muslims. Good thing I didn't join. Recommendation. We have long suspected that Gregory is demented. Now, when the government declares you demented, there should be a check. There should be a monthly check. That's my project this year. Y'all gonna pay me. I'm going to walk in, I'm rehearsing now. Hey, I come get my money. I want my back pay too. See, that's how clever they are. They say to the agents, this nigga's crazy, so you ain't killing a normal person. Gregory has long We have long suspected Gregory is being demented, but nevertheless the comments he has made is utterly ridiculous, and we must confront him and let him know on no uncertain terms that he better stop putting out such gutter talk. The FBI won't confront me. I haven't always been like this. It was this movement. It was seeing on the front line. Seeing. You grow. You grow to the extent you can look the most powerful agency in the world that will kill their mama and say, take your best shot, punk. Because the boss that I work for invented your boss. Take your best shot. And so when none of it worked, and they sent the next memo out. April 23rd, 1968, the director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, even put his serial number, 100 dash, in case y'all play lottery, 44. I lived in Chicago. The memo said, Chicago, comma, as office of origin, Richard Claxton Gregory, comma, also known as Dick Gregory, Chicago, should develop counterintelligence measures to neutralize him. This should not be done in the nature of an expose since he already gets far too much publicity. Instead, comma, sophisticated, comma, completely untraceable means of neutralizing Dick Gregory should be developed. I'm here, Hoover dead. And what they didn't tell you about Hoover's death is he was dead on the floor in the toilet where he was in there trying to get that poison out of him, and all of his safes had been broken open and ransacked. May the 15th, 1968, from the director of the FBI to the Chicago Bureau concerning a speech by Gregory on April the 28th, 1968, where he noted that syndicate mafia hoods are living all over. They are the filthiest snakes that exist on this planet. That's how I feel about the mafia. And I will go into their headquarters and tell them that. I mean, once an agent told me, you're a crazy nigga, but you got some children you like. Well, I tell you what, if you ever get any one of my children, you do one or two things. You either kill them or get your book, teach you how to raise niggas. Because this movement's bigger than me, it's bigger than my wife, and it's bigger than my family. So I went home and was explaining to my wife what I told him, and one of my daughters heard me say, Dad, you mean if somebody kidnapped me and wanted $2 million, you wouldn't give it to them at $2 million? I'd ask them, what do they see in you I don't see? And then tell them I got 9 more. Well, let's do, we can make a little bargain deal. They are the filthy snakes that exist on this planet. That's what I said. Here's Hoover's second paragraph to the Chicago FBI. Consider the use of this statement in developing counterintelligence operations to alert La Costa Nostra to Dick Gregory's attack on them. Say, we can't do it, let's get the mob. And then I had a friend to give me the names of the mobs that were supposed to make the hit. So I went to Miami, to Roselli. Control that whole Miami thing before Castro took over all the gambling in Cuba. And he said, I can't believe you come down here to see me. You want to tell me about how much? No, I said, I just come down here to tell you that I know what your assignment is, and you in Milwaukee Field and that thug up in Cleveland. Y'all be better off getting on a ladder with a hammer trying to knock the sun out the sky than disturbing one greater hair in the head of the anointed. Try it, okay? Okay. About 6 weeks later, the mob boys sent for me in Detroit, nervous, scared. He said, listen, we don't know who you are, but we need to get a truce. Truce? Truce? Y'all trying to kill me? For Hoover? I said, no. We know. We just need to talk to you. I didn't know what they was talking about. I did not know that they just Roselli, the Miami boss, had just been fished out of Miami Bay. Someone killed him, chopped him up in 5 different positions, put him in oil cans with cement, and they thought I might have had something to do with it. And I went off. When I found out, I thought, well, let me tell you. told that thug not to mess with me. That's my prayers. God, please don't give me no power, because you know this punk would not know how to use it. That's what I love about Jesus. You put me up on the cross and let some ignorant white folk gonna put me up there, and I had that power, they'd have little bitty feet, humps in their back, and heads about the size of a lemon. I dog them. Do not give me no power. Just let me run like I've been doing. Just teach me how to run, Lord. And I actually explained that to my wife. You heard the brother when he introduced me. Told you how much I could run. I could get up. And I told my wife, I said, now, baby, she said, nah, you know, if something happened, let's get out of here. You know, somebody do something to you you don't like or touch the family, call the police. Don't sick me on nobody when I get home. So just get to getting. We've been married about 2 weeks. We walking down the street, and a dude walked up and touched her on her rump, you know, so I kind of moved on up, you know. So she called up with me and says, I can't believe you let that stranger touch my rump. I said, I didn't know he was a stranger. We just been married I thought you knew him. You know, I was trying to let you kind of say, you know, I'm married now, you know. She said, well, now you know he's a stranger. What you going to do? I said, I'm going to get out of here before he touch mine. She said, who would have ever known when Hoover sent this memo out in 1965 to 8 of the most powerful agents in the Bureau that me and Mark Lane would do something in 1976, a book called Codename Zorro, The Murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. And it was that book that forced this government to have the Kennedy King assassination investigation. And because of that, out of these 8, 6 of these agents got subpoenaed because they had either interviewed or investigated one or both those assassinations. All 6 of them died before they got to Congress, including the number 2 man, William Sullivan. He got his subpoena in early November to testify in late November. And before he got there, he was hunting in New Hampshire, deer hunting. They said he was shot to death. They thought he was a deer, but they didn't tell you he was hit with a .30-06 from only 246 feet away in the daytime in an open field with an orange hunting outfit on. I kind of wanted to go to his funeral to see if they had him strapped across the hood like they do deers. These thugs is the ones that's telling you about what happened, and you so out of it and so unspiritual, you let that filth tell you what happened that day in September. Urgent, 1:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, November the 17th, 1963. That's 5 days before Kennedy was shot. To all special agents in charge of the various offices of the FBI, from the director, J. Edgar Hoover, 5 days before this telex went out. Threat to assassinate President Kennedy in Dallas, Texas, November the 22nd, 23rd, 1963, miscellaneous information. That was Hoover saying, y'all be out to lunch, because we're going to get him. They killed his brother. They killed Malcolm. And now they're going to tell you about some terrorists. And we have finally forced this government to admit something that we've known, but they finally had to admit with a document we have that says the 111 military intelligence was in Memphis the day King was shot. They haven't told us the 109 and the 184. The 184 will shoot at Jesus. They don't care. They had all them thugs in there, little by little by little. And only one paper picked this one up. This was New York Daily News, December 29th, 1999. Psychic was FBI pawn. Jean Dixon attacked Fed targets in her column. And let me save time to explain what we were able to get under the Freedom of Information. That Jean Dixon 18 months before JFK was shot in Dallas, did a column and said, I see dark clouds around JFK's head in Dallas. He should not go to Dallas. And 18 months later, he was shot. They reran the column. 6 weeks before King was shot, assassinated in Memphis, she did the same column. And now we forced the government to have to admit that Hoover would give her the targets ahead of time. She would do the column, and everybody thought she was just getting some psychic power from God. This is the FBI that's supposed to protect y'all from terrorism. This is the American press that's supposed to tell you the truth. Henry Kissinger was arrested in Paris a year and a half ago. You're the first person that knew that. For murder. Because when the head court started arresting and indicting all them thug generals in South America for all them people they was killing, they showed them documents. They said, we was doing this for Henry Kissinger. And instead of Henry showing up the next day for the French court at 9 o'clock, he slipped out like a common thug. He slipped out the Ritz-Carlton, the #1 most expensive hotel in the world, and the French say, you might have slipped out, but you can never come back to France no more. We can go get homeless people tonight off the street and send them to Paris, but Henry Kissinger can't go. Oh, this thing is changing fast. Not one American newspaper printed the story, then 18 months later, the only paper to print it is the New York Village Voice. Not NBC or CBS or the New York Times or none of your papers here. It's thug. Hello. Ron Brown, just get a good education and behave yourself, you'll be rewarded. Ask Ron Brown, was he rewarded? Put a white boy in the White House and plane smacked the mountain, and they said, oh, Ron Brown, they told his wife, the FBI, said, oh, Alma, he said his body's so mangled, we just could identify him by his fingerprints, and we asked you to cremate him. The white boys that did the autopsy on Ron Brown and went over there and picked up the body brought me the pictures of Ron Brown laying on the ground. No skin torn, no body messed up, no bone sticking out, except this bullet hole in the back of his head. Okay, so y'all go on and play your game, but you better play them quick and you better play them fast, because recess is just about over. All right? Okay? There's going to come a day that niggers and white folks like me ain't going to spend the rest of our life doing your homework for you while you sit back and pay your bills and act like you some special something that God bless. We special. We special. How long? So Johnny Cochran coming through the airport the other day, and I just hugged him and said, John, you should that O.J. trial just messed up my life. I mean, I just couldn't do nothing. I watched it all day long, listened to reruns at night. On the weekend, I'd be so nervous, waiting on it to come back. And 2 weeks before the O.J. trial was over, I'm looking at it and something snapped. I thought I did it. Yeah. I called my wife, said, get them tight gloves. I'm going to turn myself in. And I saw O.J. on TV the other day. I still love Nicole, and when I go to sleep at night, she comes to me in my dream. I tried to call the boy and ask him next time she come to you, ask her who did it. Did y'all forget that they say Nicole put up a heck of a fight because they found skin? Y'all forget? Well, how come y'all haven't asked the results? 4 white pathologists found out the skin was white and the blood wasn't OJ's, and they was getting ready to hold a press conference that morning to announce it, and all 4 of them was murdered. And only one paper in America, the Miami Herald, Thursday, July the 20th, 1995, page 38, and here's the headline. 4 L.A. City employees killed. And you got to read all the way down to paragraph 6, where it said the Piper Tech, where they died, contained the crime lab made famous in the O.J. Simpson murder case, way down here. And y'all think y'all live in the home of the free and the land of the brave with the free press and everybody in the world. No, y'all ain't nothing but punks but y'all. How long? How long? Somewhere, and you young folks, we older folks have left you a mess to clean up. The history books is filthy. Columbus discovered America. Where was the Indians when that punk got it? You know he was lost. I mean, that should bother all y'all, because, I mean, that's personal. If you can discover a country that's already occupied, I can walk out on the parking lot right now and discover your car with you in it. Shut up and get in the back seat and teach me Thanksgiving. Mister, where you live? Where do you live? Huh? Here in Portland. So when you went home tonight, if me and this white dude here had broken your house and killed your family and took all your stuff over, you'd be upset, right? And when we look at you and call you a savage and tell you to refer to us as settlers, well, you know that happened. We killed the Indians, killed their family, and called them savages, and they call themselves settlers. And to this day, that's why I'd be glad when we black folk get our reparations, because coming behind us, when them Indians come, there'll be no money left. I mean, they gonna get it. And understand, we're gonna get reparations. Oh yeah, we're gonna get reparations. And all that old silly stuff about you black folk and white folk talking. Well, we white folk didn't have nothing. We ain't asking you to pay. We didn't ask the smoker to pay off the cigarette claims. The $380 billion a cigarette had to pay off, that came from the people that was making the money off of them. The same thing going to be with reparations. The folks who made the money, the companies that made the money, like Aetna, the companies that made the money, they going to pay through their nose. And you black folk can talk that stuff with DNA now. You better hurry up and get in line, because these white folks improved. They got some colored blood in them. Woo! And you know they get in line quick. They don't waste no time getting in line. They'll stand in the rain and the snow 4 days getting a ticket to a Rolling Stone concert that ain't coming to town for 2 years. They'll stand in a line now. And who gonna get reparations for you? The same lawyers that got 40% of a $300 billion cigarette settlement gonna get your reparations, okay? Black folks are silly, all y'all over there. That racist conference in South Africa upset because America won't come. Why would you invite a child molester to a child molester convention? Huh? What's in your head to make you feel so comfortable with this thug, dog, animalistic tramp? You complain because she didn't show up. You should have put her out had she showed. How long? So, you know, I do not believe we've gone beyond the point of no return. But I believe we fastly getting there. So we got to work on the history books, on all these lies, and then understand that the power of the black church, the black press, black radio, black newspapers, and thank God, Sister Kathy, she just bought $1.9 billion, Kathy Hughes, radio stations. This is what we use one of her radio stations in D.C. to get this information out. This black man here, John Hanson, first president of the United States, not George Washington. Matter of fact, there was 8 black presidents of the United States. Well, one black one, the other one was mulatto. And when y'all get home and pull out your $2 bill, look at the left-hand side, the black man sitting there with the black face and the nappy hair, that's John Hanson. Okay. And he's not there, or he's waiting tables. And with black radio, we was able to put that out there, and the next thing you know, the white boys on the internet popped it out. George Washington, our 9th president. And then one day, we pick up the paper, and it's Thursday, August the 13th, 1998, page 815, the Washington Post. Everybody knows George Washington was the first president everyone was wrong. John Hanson was elected president before Washington. Washington just had a good spin doctor. Washington Post. Okay, Washington Post. From black radio, we were able to force them. You don't need to be too smart to figure it out. America's birthday is July the 4th, 1776. Washington become president to 89. You don't have to be smart to figure something happened in between. And any of y'all from Maryland ever been to Maryland, Highway 50 that runs all the way through the state called the John Hanson Highway. They don't have the highway named after a black man in Africa. How long? The power. Black Press is a black health magazine, Health Quest. A year ago, this past November, this is what they ran. Action AIDS Health Warning, following up on a study presented at the International AIDS Conference in Durban, South Africa. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has issued an urgent health advisory. Many people have been counseled that monoxin 9, better known as N9, that's that little jelly you find in them condoms, better known as N9, contained in many condoms, has action prevention against HIV transmission. However, in a recent study conducted on 1,000 HIV negative prostitutes in Africa, found out that using N9 gel actually increased, not decreased, the spread of HIV. They put it in the condoms. They put it in the needle. That's why you good doing suckers running around want to give some drug addict a free needle. Why don't you give them treatment since you love them so much? Huh? And you with your little naive, little God-fearing self, you don't even have the integrity to realize that the folks at the pharmaceutical companies that make the needles already put in there. Thank God I ain't never been into drugs, but if I was into drugs, y'all bring me in. I say, no, I buy the needle. I need free dope. The needle just costs a dime. Give me free dope, and I guarantee you I'll use a clean needle every day. People have been shooting up for 200 years. They just started using dirty needles just the last 20 years. Are y'all crazy? How long? That's been out over a year. And 2 weeks ago, I went in the drugstore and bought these condoms, and down the bottom it says, with monoxin 9. They're still out there. And when my oldest daughter was at the London School of Economics, I happened to be over there visiting her. May the 11th, I'm walking down the street, 1987, and not one American newspaper ran this story. This is the London Times, May the 11th, 1987. Smallpox vaccine triggers AIDS virus in Africa. And this whole front page story is how the World Health Organization, under the false pretense of wiping out smallpox, injected AIDS. And then they list the countries and how many, 75 million. Huh? And you didn't have to, black folks, you should have known it. Where were you? You know we put smallpox in India's blanket. You know we took 600 black men in Tuskegee, Alabama, and injected syphilis into them. Not the Ku Klux Klan or the white citizens, the United States Bureau of Health. How long? And so I say to you tonight, I haven't got much time, but I do not believe that it's over yet. Fastly getting there. So somewhere, one book you all should hurry up and read. It's called the Plutonium Files. That shows you how the United States government injected plutonium, not just black folks, but white folks. They document in that book how at Vanderbilt University, their medical facilities would take pregnant black and white women and inject plutonium into them to see what the outcome of the baby. And when you read it, you see not the baby wasn't born blind, it was born with no eyes. And when you read that, then it's not too far to draw the dot to realize what really happened on September the 11th. Oh, God, I'll think about it in a minute. But the book is so famous, it ain't but one of them, plutonium. Just ask you, you know. Don't go to the library, go to the bookstore, because they want to sell a book. They'll find it. And then this book here, Bureau and the Mole, this is about that punk, thug, FBI agent, Hanson. They arrested not too long ago. They talk about in this book how his brother-in-law turned him in 10 years before, and all the FBI did was gave his brother-in-law a different assignment. He says, he's married to my sister, I know what he's doing. This is the FBI that's supposed to be telling us about who the terrorist is. And they talk about in this book that some secrets he sold the Russians. If those secrets would have got moved around a little bit, it would explain September the 9th. We know this government takes pictures of their dirty work. They took the pictures of Malcolm's assassination, of King's assassination, Kennedy's assassination. I do a radio show in Washington, D.C. I say, well, one day the pictures is going to surface. Lo and behold, I never knew it would surface this early. Newsday, Wednesday, February the 6th, 2002, page 812, CBS lands historical September the 11th tape. And here's what they say in this article. The two French brothers that just happened to be in New York doing a documentary on the New York firefighters. That morning, one was in one building and another was in another. That's in here. They don't explain why. But what you're going to see on CBS, what they just bought, is you're going to see the first building being hit. Now, how could you have these filmed on a major crime and they weren't turned over to the police? Huh? You turn them over to CBS. All right? And then they run a headline. No paper, but there's one paper carried it. CBS lands historical September 11 tapes. When are y'all going to wake up? Money is not power, education is not power, information is power. Again, a tribute to the black press. My new book is number 7 on the best-selling list, and having one review in a white newspaper, just black paper, black radio. And every major bookstore is selling. Say, why? We got information. We list the Memphis lieutenant cop who killed Martin Luther King, Earl Clark. This book came out before the election. I said, I don't know who's going to win, but whoever wins will not finish their term out. That's on page 163. How long? Somewhere. Quickly, and then we're going to get out of here. I know y'all ain't got nothing to do. Now I'm always glad to come to this. This is one of my best cities. I like it here. Y'all only admit it get cold here. So, you know, I felt funny when they said, I'm going to Portland. Little girl, my little granddaughter said, why are you taking your long underwear? October the 31st, the French daily La Vigaro dropped a bombshell. It was October 31st last year. The bombshell was, while in a Dubai hospital receiving treatment for his chronic kidney infection last July, bin Laden met with the station chief of the CIA in his private room. On July the 14th, he was allowed to fly out of Dubai on his private jet, and no Navy planes intercepted him. Not one American newspaper ran that story. September the 1st, 25,000 British troops took part in what they call Operation Essential Harvest and are prearranged in Oman, the closest point to the Pakistan Peninsula, and at the same time, 2 U.S. carriers was stationed off the Gulf of Aman. Also at the same time, 17,000 U.S. troops joined more than 23,000 NATO troops in Egypt for Operation Bright Star. All of these forces was in place before the first plane hit the World Trade Building. Where'd that come from? The London paper, The Guardian, CNN reported it, Fox reported it, the London Observer. September the 7th, 4,744 put options was purchased on United Airlines. Put options is, I bet $10 million today that United Airlines stock will go up. I'm sorry, I bet it will go down. If it goes up, I'll lose my $10 million. If it goes down, I'll win. 4,744 put options was purchased on United Airlines stock, as opposed to only 396 call options. Those were folks betting the stock would go up. This took place in the Dutch bank, the Deutsche Bank, not Dutch, no, in Germany, y'all know what I'm saying, yeah. Dutch Bank. And when the truth come out about Enron, that's where a lot of their business stuff went through. The reason I'm telling you that, because the dude who's the executive director of the CIA, not the head executive director, he used to run that bank. So it's all connected. On September the 10th, the day before, 4,516 put options was bought on American Airlines. Reported by who? The New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. How long? I'll leave you with a couple of things. We have power. Right down the road, this ran in September the 12th, the day after. San Francisco Chronicle, front page story, the mayor, Willie Brown, was told not to go to New York the next day, which was Tuesday morning. And not one paper or wire service picked this story up. Same paper, Chronicle, that Friday the 14th, this story ran the front page. Former U.S. Secretary of State George Shultz said yesterday that he was startled by a little-known State Department memo that was issued a week ago and warned that Americans may be the target of terrorist threats. The memo, issued just 4 days before the attack on New York and Washington, identified the threat as coming from extremist groups with bin Laden. I have no idea what intelligence lies behind these threats, warned Schultz said, but they put that out because they had some type of intelligence. Schultz, who served as Secretary of State under President Reagan, said he received a copy of the September 7th worldwide warning in his San Francisco office on the day before the hit. So where would this get to be caught us off guard? Huh? And not one other newspaper. Here's a man who was the Secretary of State, did not pick this story up. Because all they got to do is take some hate and some racism and say the Arabs did it, and everybody fall in line until it's too late. And one question that need to be asked, how come they didn't evacuate no buildings in Seattle? How come they didn't evacuate no buildings in LA? How come they only evacuated one building in San Francisco, the Trans-American Towers? How come they evacuated one building in Chicago, the Sirius Towers, and right down the street from that is the Standard Oil building, which is almost as tall, and they didn't evacuate? The reason is because of this document, which I've had for almost 18 months, and the government's had it since 1995. This document here. In 1995, when Filipino police authorities captured Ramzi Youssef in Manila, they found out that he was one of the ones that was dealing with, supposed to assassinate Pope John Paul II who was then scheduled to visit the Philippines. Also, they found out that there was a project called Operation Binko, which called for the hijacking of U.S.-bound commercial airlines from the Philippines, Korea, Thailand, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and crash them into key structures in the United States, the World Trade Center, the White House, the Pentagon, the Trans-American Towers, and the Sirius Towers. They've had these documents. They've had these documents. And so I say to you, as I leave you tonight, it ain't about Arab oil. You know, let me tell you when you know what it ain't about. When the dumbest people you know done figured it out. Who ain't never figured out nothing, then you know that ain't it. And those of y'all that think it might be about oil or might be about that pipeline, the Financial Times, Monday, Monday, November the 5th, 2001, headlines, machine runs on hydrogen. There's about 70,000 cars on the streets in America now run on water. They run on hydrogen. It takes the H out of the 2O and then throws the 2O back into the atmosphere. It's non-pollutant. They don't need Arab oil. Now, I knew about the cars because I had a friend of mine ask me if I didn't mind waiting 3 months when I bought my new Cadillac. I could get one until I got something I have to do. If you run on P, I'd love to be able to fill up my own tank. Yeah. Drink your water. Do your physical fitness. Do not leave here tonight frightened. Do not leave here and go and hoard food. Hoarding is a violation. Just put your little bottle of water away. Put your little dried fruit away. Now, if you tell your friends, you know, like your brothers and your sisters and your cousins, and they say you crazy, then make like they right. Because once it come down, they know you got something. And they're going to come to your house. So you got to tell them once they won't listen, say, you know you was right, man. I heard that old nut over there talking that talk. So I tell you to get into your body, get into some vegetarianism. You don't have to do it forever. Just try it and see how good you feel. Get into a little fasting. Now, don't go here and go home and tell nobody, because I know what their reaction be. Say, I think I'm going to do a 2-day fast. And the first thing you love is, did you check with a doctor? Did you check with a doctor before you did cocaine? This is my first week of my liquid fast. And just ask you to do me a favor, same favor I've asked this government. We'll be fasting and praying until Good Friday. It's a simple prayer, 12 noon. We just ask everybody to join us and pray that the truth will come out about what really happened. Now listen, if what the government is telling you, then hey, that's what we pray for. If what they're not is telling you, we're not getting involved with no political this or that. We said, all we asking you to do is let the truth come out. And y'all will be stunned and shocked. That's the power you have. This government have no power. Hitler thought he had power. Where is he now? All of them, from Napoleon, all of them thought they had power. Where are they now? Queen Elizabeth just went to her sister's funeral the other day. She one of the richest white women in the world. Some of y'all sitting here that know people 70 years old, that's how her sister was, ain't got no money, ain't got nothing, but they alive. The Queen's sister dead. So understand Queen Elizabeth with all her money and that heart you got inside of you, the same heart she got, you got. God don't have Queen Elizabeth heart. God don't have rich folk hearts. It's the same. All of us got the same. Take care of it. Enjoy yourself. have fun and laugh. Learn to laugh. Just laugh. Don't wait till no professional comedians. The biggest laugh you ever had come from just friends and brothers. Just laugh. Giggle. When's the last time you giggled? Go home tonight and just giggle. Woo! They might think you're crazy at home. They probably think that anyway. Hey, I love you. God bless you. Peace be with you.
Brother asked me to give you that.
Well, I get it.
Big Gregory. That's okay. I'd like to also pay special attention to our camera crew and also the broadcasting crew consists of Larry Dunham, Omar Hakim, and Harold Williams. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Let me just say, excuse me, 1 minute. Let me just say, I'm sorry. Let me just say two things. I have a website, dickgregory.com. We have an awful lot of information on that. But let me just share this with you and then give you a gift. This is an Egyptian doctor in a hospital in Tokyo. He decided he wouldn't deal with cancer or AIDS. He would deal with the immune system. So he put a system together using 3 mushrooms and a rice bran. And when you look at the stats that came out of that hospital with this vitamin, and I will say to you, if you got cancer, it'll knock it out. If you haven't got cancer, you can never get it. That's what it do to the immune system. Now, the reason I'm telling you this, health food stores sell it. It's called MGN3. But I want you to hear me real good now. Health food stores do not have these documents. So what I'm doing is I have a friend of mine who has the product, but that's not important. What I want you to do, I want you to call this number and get this. I'll pay for this information. Now, don't mess up. Don't call and say, Dick Gregory said he would pay for the vitamins. You will die. Hear me, I am not paying for the vitamins. The vitamins mean nothing to me without you having this information, because you will know once you have this information, if you start using this before, you can never, and then you start knowing what the immune system, what God gave us 130 different white cells, and the number 1 and number 2 cells are called killer cells, and that's all he did, was put a system together that builds it up. And so if you call this number and just tell them that I said, send you. Now, even if you get the vitamins, get this. And when you get it, please copy it 10 to 15 times and pass it out to people. And that number is in Washington, D.C., 202-554-4499. Now, let me repeat it again. I have people that find my number out of clear blue sky from all over the country to call me to ask me how to get this number. You see, I was in the audience and I didn't take it down, or I took it down wrong. So I'm going to do it 2 more times. One, I'm going to do it real brilliant. 202-554-4499. Now I'm going to do it real stupid. 202. 554 4499. I love you. God bless. Thank you.